plan.
अच्छा, एक quick dip test करते हैं. I want to check the vibe here. Guys, I have these gentlemen on stage with me for the next 25 minutes. Do you want 5 minutes of your share? Are there questions that you want to ask them? Because then I'll open it up for the audience. I see a hand go up. Oh, many hands going up. Chalo. So now I'm willing to share my time. And Namita, you give me a slight ishara when 20 minutes are over. No, that's not my mistake. They weren't settling down.
Okay, we are giving you 6 minutes extra. Bonus, you know.
Lovely. Okay, very excited to be talking about a show जो I am sure आप में से सबने देख ली है. It's Rana Naidu, season 1, season 2, 2 very successful seasons. So I think what we also plan to do today is ask the secret sauce that makes a series so hugely popular. But before I do that, I want to tell everyone, there could be spoilers. And it's your mistake, क्योंकि इतने amazing हम content की बात कर रहे हैं. If you haven't seen the 2 shows, that's your mistake. But feel free, gentlemen, to let us in on all the secrets. Okay? I'm going to start with a generic question. What do you think in today's day and age goes into making a content that becomes so hugely watchable and successful? You both, all 3 of you are responsible for these 2 seasons of Rana Naidu. Please tell us the opening remarks.
Well, I think it starts with getting the emotions right, honestly. Because if you don't connect and creating great characters, and with Rana Naidu, I mean, being a titular role itself, I think every single character stands out across seasons. With the new ones in season 2 as well, with Rauf, with Arjun Rampal, or with Kritik Karbanda's character. You had a whole bunch of very nuanced, very, very deep characters per se. People connect with them. The storylines were very, very deep, very, very rich. And I think we kind of got to pull out all stops, because when the platform supports you and gives you wings and says, go all out. And when you have actors like Venkatesh sir and Rana Dagopati, I mean, you can go and create interesting zones. You have people like Sushant, you have Abhishek Banerjee, you have Surveen, and this core family of ours which binds us together, despite someone very special dying this season. Spoiler alert. I think it's always been escalating and raising the bar.
Yeah.
And it came down to how far can we take the emotions into a zone which is dark. At the same time, it hits your heart in a very interesting way.
Lovely. Reaching the heart, यही तो key है. Vaibhav, Vishal, over to you.
See, so actually Suparn summed it up, but I'll just add 2 things to it. One is, the kind of theme that we had, I don't think that had ever been seen, the father-son conflict, We typically have shied away from it. In Hindi cinema also, and I had said it before also, that there's a Shakti, there's a Trishul, there's an animal that came after Rana Naidu. So I claim that we did an animal before an animal. We had the raw toxicity. So the fact that we took a theme that had not been touched upon before, that had not been, that had not been brought to the mainstream before, and we could work with it with actors who were delivering their 100%, I think that made a huge difference. The other bit was, and not many people would recognize it, the language, Dakkani, that we used, that I thought, made a huge difference because it had not been seen. And so far, whatever we had seen of Hyderabadi, especially, in Hindi, was very Mahmood kind of Hyderabadi, which was more a mockery, a parody than anything else. And we took it very seriously, the language. And we brought it, to the mainstream. And I thought that also made a huge difference. And the idea was, as I said, not to create a parody, but take it seriously. And everybody, there speaks in the language, and that also worked. So these 2 factors perhaps also contributed, is what I think.
No, I think the Dakkani did add a very unique flavor to the show and hugely enjoyable. Sushant, hats off to you, जो आप इतने शांत होके बैठ गए इन दोनों के साथ after what they have done to you.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Season 2 में इन्होंने मार दिया मुझे.
It was a spectacular death, though. Very beautiful to look at.
Spectacular. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Thank you.
No, but we want to talk about it. अच्छा, आपको पहले ही पता चल गया था कि इस सीजन में क्या होगा आपके साथ, तो आपने थोड़ी अलग बैठक नहीं करी इन दोनों के साथ?
हाँ, मुझे पता चल गया था. स्क्रिप्ट तो भेजी जाती है वैसे भी सीजन से पहले, बट मैंने पूरी पढ़ी नहीं थी. तो लुक टेस्ट चल रहा था सीजन 2 का, एंड करण अंशुमन द ग्रेट वहाँ पर थे. एंड उन्होंने मुझे लुक दिया, बोला तो हैव यू रेड इट? ऐसे ना अभी 2 एपिसोड पढ़े हैं, बाकी पढ़ रहा हूँ. यू वॉन्ट टू नो वॉट हैपन्स नेक्स्ट. उसकी आवाज़ में ऐसा जादू था, मैं समझ गया कि इन्होंने मेरी मौत लिखी है इसमें. जिस तरह से पूछा उसने ना, यू वॉन्ट टू नो वॉट हैपन्स नेक्स्ट, मैंने बता ही दे फिर. तो बता दिया उसने, लुक टेस्ट में बता दिया मुझे कि आप मर रहे हैं. तो ठीक है, उसके बाद क्या, अभी जब लिख दिया तो लिख दिया. मरने में तो मेरी वैसे भी मास्टरी है. बहुत मरा हूँ.
नहीं, but हम बड़े affected हुए, so that's definitely a win. Okay, talking about this, the points that all of you raised. एक, आपका show news में रहा because of the violence aspect, right? A lot of people were also shocked into watching it, and it drew us in. But that also drew a lot of criticism, saying why is there, so much violence, or the language. And I think in certain ways it helped you guys, because people also wanted to watch it and know what the deal is about. Tell me, after a successful season 1, what sort of mindset gets you ready for season 2? Does the feedback, what people are saying, affect you? How much does that seep into the writer's room, in your minds, and how do you decide to kind of change gears a little bit?
So in terms of violence, I think this season is more violent than the previous one. The previous one, I think the language was more colorful. This time we kind of, told the audiences that last season, it's a family show you watch alone. This is a season where it's a family show you watch with your family. But I think the challenges for Vaibhav were tenfold to kind of up the ante, because the language of Rana Naidu was discussed non-stop. I mean, there are reels and reels of it, right? And how do you keep that fresh? How do you make it fun, not repetitive?
Right.
So I think that challenge is something I would love for Vishal to kind of talk about, because it was a process.
No, indeed it was. Where we left season 1 at, so there was a lot of criticism about the language, about the colorful language, the abuses. And I'll be dishonest if I say that it did not impact me as a writer, because obviously when you're hearing everybody criticize the thing. But what we had set out to do, we were very clear about that, it had to be a disruptor, and it did end up disrupting. When the numbers happened, then, we realized that we were not doing anything wrong, and that we were going in the right direction, because it turned out to be Netflix India's #1 show, And so people were obviously watching it. And when I'm asked, at forums like these on the language, तो मैं एक ही बात कहता हूँ कि हमने थोड़ी गालियाँ invent की हैं. गालियाँ तो समाज में दी जा रही हैं, सब लोग दे रहे हैं, मैंने तो बनाई नहीं है, तो मैंने उनका इस्तेमाल किया है. तो खैर, but to answer your question, so it did impact us. Also, there were, we decided that, perhaps we needed to, expand the base of the show and, reach out to more people. And therefore, we did make some conscious decisions about the language. And we followed that. I mean, I won't tell you that I had an Excel sheet. I did. And
You
yeah,
did?
I mean, I was told that, X number of words can be used, X number of times.
Wow.
So
If only we could be privy to these mails and conversations.
Yes.
Maths was our favorite subject in school. That's the reason we became creative people. So yeah.
So yeah, that did happen. But, it had a reason, so I'm not questioning it. I'm not questioning, the people who, it was a collective decision that we won't go beyond this. And also, that helped us in making, giving creative solutions to the show. So Venkatesh's character, we showed that, he's now gotten into yoga. He does Anulom Vilom, consciously.
Yeah.
And therefore, he's not abusing. Arjun's character tells Rana, "Hey, gali allowed nahi hai idhar, marpit kar sakta hai, gali allowed nahi." So it was all very conscious, to do all of this. So we found a creative solution to work with it, and I don't think, of course, the hardcore watchers may say that, yaar, wo maza nahi aaya, wo colorful language mein zyada maza aa raha tha. But I do think that, a wider audience, has perhaps enjoyed the show this time. So, yeah, I'm not,
I remember
think
I
it has
was
worked.
reading one of your interviews where you said that it was also a challenge to get the kid to not take not call the father by his name, and that was a whole discussion
Correct,
that happened.
correct.
And when you get such requests about toning stuff down, do you think somewhere, because whatever you're writing or you're ideating, it is in service of the story or the characters.
Ji.
Does that sometimes dampen the spirit of what you're trying to say?
No, no. And this is a very conscious no that I'm saying. You know, it's not like, you know, because of somebody's putting a gun. यार क्या होता है कि आपको बता दिया गया है कि हाँ भाई ये चीज़ें कुछ चीज़ें हो सकती हैं कुछ चीज़ें नहीं हो सकती हैं and at some places you know you have to also use your own discretion. So Rana calling his father by his name Naga is something that we had a very conscious discussion on. You know, Karan, Suparn, all these guys were involved and we did have a chat. And you know we and because it's a bit too much, you know, son calling the father name. But how we managed it that the 4 sons, you know, including the you know the other son that he has, they all called him by different names.
Yeah.
So Sushant's character called him Nana, Rana calls him Naga, Abhishek calls him Daddy, and the last one calls him Papa. You know, so it was a creative solution that we created that all of them would you know call him perhaps differently. Now. But the intensity of Rana's hatred towards Naga, we did not compromise on that.
Right.
You know, we did not. And ditto for, you know, what Naga felt about Rana, because both of them are flawed characters. Both of them have issues. If Naga has not been the best possible father, perhaps Rana has also not been the best possible son. We did not compromise on any of that. Certain aspects of the language, yes, you know, we had to tone a few things down for a wider audience base, and I did it without any complaints, I promise you.
And also to add to it, see, we don't make any show or movie rather in an echo chamber. It is for an audience.
Yeah.
And we want to reach the widest audience possible. Rana Naidu is one of the most viewed shows on Netflix. And the idea is to expand that user base even further. How do you take it further? And the best thing with platforms is they get constant feedback, completion rates. The entire process is very, very interesting. I mean, I was making a comment about maths not being a favorite subject, but unfortunately, what you hate most comes back to you in a different form in life. Once you understand the learnings that you get from audiences and realize that you can push this further, or they love this, they didn't like this. To give you an example of a different show, Family Man Season 2.
Correct.
When we were writing Season 2, we started shooting Season 2 before 1 released. When 1 released, we realized the family had blown up. We had dialed down the family in the writing.
Yeah.
So we realized we need to kind of add it back. Similarly, once we get feedback on Season 1, we have the time and space to add more things, layer it and further it in Season 2. And it's a constant process of growth. It's a constant learning. And I think that is what we need to do as artists in any case, is adapt, learn and evolve. So this is part of that.
Sushant, you've been silent, so my next question will be directed to
यार
you.
ये क्रिएटर्स की कॉन्फ्रेंस है
उन्होंने
ठीक है ना
आपको
तो
create
दोनों
किया
बोल
है।
रहे हैं मैं सुन रहा हूँ मैं मजे ले रहा
The
हूँ
one who created, we want to know his perspective as well. So, with the OTT boom, and particularly after the corona years when we were all stuck inside and, we started watching shows, and you've had such organic hits like Scam and all of these. There was a lot of hope that, the OTT space is going to give us, different narratives, different kind of subjects, and a platform for actors to explore their skill, because Bollywood was still very templatized. And now there seems to be a fusion and a fusing together of content. I hate this word, but since that's bandied around, I want to know, as an actor, and I want you to be honest, has the OTT space really given you challenging roles that you think probably the big Bollywood, big budget films would not, or would sacrifice your character at the altar of, what mainstream storytelling
Yeah,
should
no,
be like?
I got your question. And honestly, yes, OTT has given me the kind of characters which cinema, I think, rarely gave me. Barring a film or two, अगर आप Legend of Bhagat Singh की बात कर लो, या शहर, 2-4 फिल्में हैं मेरे करियर में जहाँ पर मुझे ऐसा कैरेक्टर मिला जिसमें लेयर्स एंड लेयर्स हैं और बहुत मेहनत करके उसको निकालने का एक रस मिला. बाकी फिल्मों में उतना मज़ा नहीं आया, बट OTT डेफिनेटली गिव मी. वो चाहे राणा नायडू हो, चाहे रंगबाज हो, या अ सिंपल मर्डर हो, इट हैज़ गिवन मी सॉर्ट ऑफ अ न्यू बिगिनिंग, न्यू होप्स कि हाँ, नॉट जस्ट एज इन के कितना अच्छा काम मिलेगा, एज इन कितना कुछ एक्सप्लोर करने का मौका अभी भी है. As an actor, how much I can grow, and all these serials, the series, they've helped me grow as an actor.
Right.
वो definitely मिला है. But yes, I think again being Indians and being Bollywood centric, we are reaching a point again where there's a sort of a star system emerging even in OTTs, where only a select few will get certain roles and बाकी सबको फिर वही supporting actor में. So I see us going down the same path. तो अब OTT में काफ़ी एक्सप्लोर किया है, बट देन आई सी अगेन कि अब बिकॉज काम जैसे जैसे कम हो रहा है, वी आर गोइंग थ्रू डल पैच राइट नाउ, एंड जैसे जैसे काम कम हो रहा है तो फिर वो सेलेक्ट फ्यू हैं, 4 लोग हैं जिनको मेन कैरेक्टर्स मिलेंगे, बाकी रेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू ईदर यू कैन सिट एट होम और यू कैन डू दोज 3-4 days का सपोर्टिंग वाला काम कर लो, बी हैप्पी विद दैट. सो वी अगेन रीच दैट सेम पॉइंट.
Just to add to a technicality of what Sushant just said is also the comparison is a little unfair because we have done films and shows both. Films per se are about 60 to 70 scenes. Shows are about 700 scenes put together. That gives you a lot of scope as a writer, as a director, as an actor to explore each character, each layer, each nuance and plot line. Films by nature are 2 hours, right? So there's only so much time you can devote to everyone, including the lead or the parallel lead, secondary character. So it is a different format altogether. And in that sense, I think for actors, OTT is a boon in a way that they really kind of get that meat of the character to play with, and there is enough time for us as creators also to play around.
For all the creative people.
All the creative people. Everyone.
It's been a boon, definitely.
Yeah. Perfect. Guys, I'm going to open it up for all of you, but before that, one final question. वो हमने 6 मिनट बाद स्टार्ट करा, हमारी गलती नहीं.
Time's up.
मेरा एक सवाल, since animal came up as a word here and we have gentlemen here and no woman, I want to ask you that when you write women characters particularly, are you aware and conscious of the fact that that there will be a larger societal impact on how you portray women? And do you consciously try and write characters that resonate with women in society we see today?
See, sorry.
You start off, then I'll jump.
It's guided, of course, by the subject matter. There's only so much you can do. But the women of Rana Naidu, all of them are extremely strong if you look at them.
Which is why I asked
All
you
of
this
them.
question. You have nothing to worry.
Yeah. And that was very consciously written. That was very, very consciously written. We wanted women to be like that. Especially in this particular season, Alia's character.
Right.
So, she in her head is the main character. And even in the writer's head, she's the main character. Rolf also was, for me, the main character. Because if you look at what they are doing, it's absolutely correct. So, Alia is just an ambitious girl. So, there was a possibility of, and when you show ambitious women, you can make them vamp. वो आप शशिकला बना सकते हैं बड़े आराम से उसको. But हमने वो बहुत consciously वो नहीं किया. Our thing was very, very clear that we have to see things from her perspective, see her ambition. And even if she's, pitted against Rana, she has to have a character, And that was a very conscious decision. And ditto for all the characters of, women of Rana Naidu. So, yeah.
So, I mean, the women of Rana Naidu are, as ballsy as the men or at times more. But as creators or as writers, here's the thing. I think we are in service of the story and the characters. And not all characters can be the same. Whether it's male or female, you'll have some characters which are simps, some who are strong, some who are weak, some who are submissive, some who are dominant. And it can change per se. Sometimes the character itself journeys and changes. You took Animal's name. I mean, Rashmika has a completely different graph. She starts off where you think she's weak and simpy, then she stands up, has a spine. See, things are debatable, but that's in service of his story and the film he's saying. These characters are in the service of the film and story that we are making. What is problematic to some is understandable to some. And I think, and here's the thing, right? We are liberals. As creative people, I think we should be liberals. I think everyone has a right and forum to tell their stories. The minute we fight censorship and saying it is wrong, what right do I have to tell someone, you can't make this story? That is his story, his or her voice. This is my voice. I am saying my piece. I can debate it. But bottom line is, cinema is what it is. It's a voice, right? You have different voices across the world of different kinds of cinema. And that is art. Some books, I mean, for example, everybody reads Fountainhead. Howard Roark and Dominic Franken's love story is one of the most problematic love stories, right? It's not straightforward, but it exists. It's one of the most widely read books. So now, are you going to ban Fountainhead and say, how did she write it and then write it? Or, so art is subjective. Everyone has a point of view, and it can be different. And that is the best thing about art. It's meant to be discussed. It's meant to be talked about.
Right.
You can discuss timing. You can do a lot of things. But I don't think you can question someone's voice.
Correct.
Art should be kind of raising questions, should be inciting discussions, and that is good art. And there is great technique.
No, as artists, we completely should be against censorship, but I think it's the gaze which sometimes is questionable. But this was a tricky last question that I asked you. The debate can go on. So I'm going to put my focus on the audience. Guys, if you have a question that you want to ask the team, please put your hand up. I see a gentleman here. Can he get a mic? Or sir, can you be loud enough for the room to hear you?
Can we please give a mic to the gentleman?
I think the... How nice.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sushant.
Sushant.
Hi, Sushant sir. My name is Iqbal. I'm also an aspiring filmmaker. One of the finest session in the entire day. So my question is to that, कि you have worked in several, I think, a few political drama or political films like Legend of Bhagat Singh. तो आपने सावधान इंडिया को भी होस्ट किया है, तो वो लेयर जो आपका है, द कैरेक्टर जो आप प्ले करते हो, वो रियल लाइफ में भी दिखता है, बिकॉज यू आर वेरी वोकल अबाउट द हेट्रेट and political issues. Even though few activists are jailed, you always I regularly follow you on social media. तो आप हमेशा you are a vocalist about that. तो क्या ये लेयर आपके कैरेक्टर से निकल के आता है कि you are like that? What's your take on that? क्या सोचते हैं आप ऐसा?
ओह अच्छा, आज की कॉन्फ्रेंस से इसका ताल्लुक है नहीं, ये एक लंबा डिस्कशन है. आराम से मिलेंगे, बैठेंगे, मैं ज़रूर इस पर बात करूंगा.
I'm talking about your character, क्योंकि आप रियल लाइफ में भी
यार मेरे कैरेक्टर्स जैसे इन्होंने अभी कहा, मेरे कैरेक्टर्स किसी वैक्यूम से नहीं निकलते हैं. वो क्रिएटर्स हैं जो मुझे कैरेक्टर्स ला करके देते हैं. हाँ, मेरी पसंद नापसंद है, जो मेरी अपनी एक पॉलिटिक्स है, एक विचारधारा है. तो कोई भी कैरेक्टर कुछ कह रहा हो, सोसाइटी से कुछ ना कुछ कह ज़रूर रहा हो, मेरी ये कोशिश रहती है. वो नेगेटिव भी हो सकता है, पॉजिटिव भी हो सकता है, बट कहीं ना कहीं कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट करे एक नैरेटिव, एक किसी सब्जेक्ट पर. इतनी कोशिश रहती है बस. बाकी
I'll answer your question.
Yeah, please.
The honesty and integrity of this man shows in everything that he does in his work.
That's why I asked this question.
That's so true.
Thank you so much for good answers.
GPay me.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.